channel, Gabe RPG TV, bridging the gap, or trying to bridge that gap between musicians and technology, the accessibility, well, the lack of accessibility within this realm. And that's basically what this episode is going to be mostly about. Definitely going to fit in, of course, some guitar technique and just stuff about guitar in general. So, even today, we as guitarists who, say, have a disability of any kind, there's not, I would say, much inclusion to music technology. When it comes to software, I would say there's been a lot of big improvements basically to all the recording softwares, things like GarageBand, Logic, Pro Tools, even Reaper. That's saying there's a lot of options these days where even, say, let's go back, say, 5 years, 10 years ago, the access to using those recording softwares was okay. It wasn't amazing or at the level it is today. Though you could use those softwares, you could basically create projects with them. But now, if you open GarageBand or say, even just what's another program? Let's see. Even just on the phone, like GarageBand, whether it be on the phone or the Mac, it's most definitely a lot easier to use today than even, like I said, 5-10 years ago, whatever. Because it makes sense. It's not very convoluted like it used to be, where everything's very hidden. I mean, there's definitely some things like a learning curve to it, though it doesn't take as much as it used to get up and, say, recording something. Oh, and I also forgot to mention there's a couple other mobile applications as far as on the iOS. And mainly, of course, is iOS because that's what I use. I guess I could use Android. There's definitely TalkBack on there. There's, accessibility features on Google phones and, like I said, Android phones. Though I find that iOS is what most musicians have been using, even I would say back after the iPhone came out, because I would say 9 out of the 10 musicians I would come in contact had an iPhone. Very few musicians had Android phones, and I knew that was going to be the platform I was going to work on. That this was going to be it. Even when I got my iPod. My very first iPod Touch, I knew that was going to be the thing to record with and to use. And I had a lot of really cool and fun recording apps. And even just the apps for recording, right on the fly, those have become even better. You have apps like, say, iRecorder Pro, Just Record. What else? Those are probably the two off the top of my head right now. Of course, you always have the default Notes application now, or not Notes, but memos, voice memos. I said Notes. Of course, you can do music notes now, as far as I remember. So, yeah, there's a lot of really great options for as far as recording. Though, when it comes to making music, that still is so frustrating because, as far as being a guitarist and wanting equal access, true equal access to amps and pedals, and, say, having a setup like the way people are doing, on the Line 6 Pod Go, or even just, what else? I'm trying to think. Even on the Boss effects setups, even though those are, for the most part, a kind of straightforward setup. You press this pedal, then the next pedal, and another pedal, and then you get the effects setup that you kind of want. Though you don't have any way of storing patches or a mode, or if you can even figure out the manual, it's just really still very frustrating. And just to always hold all that stuff in your mind, not that it's impossible or not doable. It's just, it's not the same level as just being able to walk up to something and everything's right at your fingertips. You know what you're touching or adjusting, or you can have all of these endless library of, say, effects and amps like in the Helix. Oh my God! One of my a friend, somebody I've met, and they they basically were showing me how all the things that you can do with a Helix, and it just was like, oh my God! I wish I could even do a fraction of the things that someone with sight with on a Helix can do. I mean, it would definitely worth forking out the hundreds of dollars it is for a Helix. Or like a Kemper, or just any of those kinds of things. And it's trying to have that equal access. It's just not quite there yet. I'm not sure if it'll ever be. And I know that's kind of like I don't know, saddening, disheartening, any of those vernaculars from the English language. And it's just, I think, as far as being able to use the computer setup, like I've shown in the past with, being able to select pedals or use, say the iPhone as my pedal board, that is definitely better. Though that has a long way to come along too, because, amps like Amplitude. Amplitude used to be a great app, but then they messed that up. All the accessibility is just god awful. As far as using, say, your iOS device with a separate audio interface and selecting effects, it's still not easy. Even in the Line 6 Pod Go app, that app is horrible. There isn't any really good app beyond GarageBand to use as a, say, virtual pedal board. And that's actually really good and reliable, and that you're adjusting what you're adjusting, be that distortion or delay, or say choosing an amp, one of the various amp presets that they have in there. So yeah, that is pretty much still the main app, whether it be on iOS or say the Mac, for using, say, simulations, virtual pedals, that kind of stuff. And I really hope that it improves someday. We just gotta keep bringing it to the forefront, talking about the tools that we have as musicians, because that's one of the great things. The more tools you have, the more things you have to express yourself, or just sounds, just so many things that you can create with a certain sound. Of course, at the end of the day, it's in your hands. Your artistry is in your hands and from your strings. Though having access, true equal access, where you don't have to memorize stuff, where it tells you what you're doing, or at least you somehow maybe know what you're doing. Even just better, distinct knobs. I mean, even just, it can't be that hard to add, I don't know, some kind of letter or raised letter, just something that, isn't completely crazy, or, just something to recognize that I'm, turning the knob for, gain, delay, just something that lets me know, other than like, okay, I got to count, say this knob over 3 over from the left. This is, delay, then like, say 4 over is my, say, chorus or something like that. Yeah, all that just gets, just so draining, and you're like, I just want to play. So, yeah. Just topics that I thought would be good to, talk about and say and speak on, as far as musicians, guitarists, having that equal access. Alright, I think it's time to play a bit more guitar here. Alright. I think this video's been long enough, so that's it for now. Come check out the next video with more actual guitar lessons, as opposed to me just kind of talking, ranting about accessibility. Accessibility. There we go. Gotta make sure it's audibly recognizable. What words did I say? I know that I definitely need my speech to come through. I know a lot of times when I'm talking and playing, they kind of get a little bit canceled out. So just trying to talk more clearly and just so that my voice isn't canceled out with what I'm trying to play as well. It's random chords here. Or not random, but... subscribe, comment. Maybe we can get some better accessibility, access for blind guitarists. That is the hope. Better access, better tools. Alright, catch you in the next video.